What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Electron Beach. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most overlooked parts on your engine, the thermostat. Specifically, what's changed, why it's changed, what it costs you, and whether any of us actually wanted it. Let's get into it. For most of automotive history, the thermostat was beautifully simple. A wax pellet inside a brass housing, that's it. The wax expands when it gets hot, pushes open the valve, and lets coolant flow through the radiator. No wires, no sensors, no modules, no software updates. A conventional mechanical thermostat opens at around 180 degrees Fahrenheit, sometimes 195 depending on the application. It regulates coolant temperature passively with zero input from the ECU. Replacement cost anywhere from $15 to $35 for the actual part from any parts store. Labor is usually around an hour or less, and most backyard mechanics can do it themselves with basic tools in the afternoon. These things last. Some go for 100,000 miles or more without an issue. When they do fail, diagnosis is straightforward. The engine either runs cold or runs hot, or the heater stops working well. You replace it, bleed the system, and you're done. Now let's look at what manufacturers have moved to, like Hyundai. This is now a thermostat. 2025 Hyundai Sonata is a good example. This engine uses what's called a electronically controlled thermal management module. Instead of a wax pellet, there's an electric motor that physically opens and closes the thermostat valve on command from the ECM, engine control module. And here's an important clarification. I want to get this right. The thermostat unit itself on this system has an electric motor. The coolant temperature sensors are located on a separate part of the cylinder head. So the thermostat isn't self-sensing, it's receiving a command signal based on the data that lives elsewhere. The ECM is essentially acting as the brain between those sensors and the motor. Why does it matter? Because the ECM can now vary engine operating temperature dynamically. Under a cold start, keeps the engine warmer for a longer warm-up to reduce emissions and fuel consumption. Under heavy load, it can lower operating temp to protect components. Under light cruise, it can run hotter to improve thermal efficiency. This is called variable thermostat controlled or map controlled cooling. Part costs for one of these systems can range anywhere from $150 to $300, even more for an OEM unit. Installed at a shop, you're potentially paying $600 to $900 depending on the vehicle and labor rates in your area. The diagnosis alone is more involved. If it's leaking, that's pretty simple. It's leaking, and that's what this one did. It was leaking out of this gasket right here. And it's probably because it's all made out of plastic. And after some time, it heats, it warps, and it developed a leak right around here. So you need a scan tool to look at the coolant temp data, the ECM commanded temperature targets, and the actuator response. It's not a job most home mechanics will tackle, and shops need to make sure they're clearing codes and verifying the system calibrates correctly after the swap. Does it save you money on fuel? That's the question everybody wants answered. The honest answer, yes, but not dramatically. The efficiency gains from a map control thermostat come from running the engine at optimal temperatures more precisely and more consistently than a mechanical unit can. Combustion efficiency improves when the engine is at the right thermal state for the driving condition. Friction is also reduced at higher temps when everything is properly expanded and lubricated. Estimated fuel savings from this technology alone, not the whole engine, just the thermostat control strategy, run in the range of 1 to 3% in real-world driving. On a vehicle averaging 30 miles per gallon, driven 15,000 miles per year at around $3.30 per gallon, I can only hope. That works out roughly 500 gallons used annually, costing about $16.50 in fuel. A 1 to 3% improvement saves you somewhere between $17 and $50 per year in gas. If we compare that to the difference in repair costs between systems, say a $20 mechanical unit versus a $200+ electronic unit, you're looking at a break-even that takes years, assuming the system never fails early. This one failed at, I think, under 50,000 miles. So if the electronic system fails at 80,000 miles, the math gets worse. Fast. So here's where I'm going to ask you something directly. This technology exists, it's real, it does work, engineers put serious thought into it, and it does produce efficiency gains. That's not in question. But the failure modes are more complex, the repair costs are higher, the DIY accessibility is lower, and the fuel savings, while real, are modest. So the question for you watching right now is, was it worth it? And more importantly, who asked for this? Did you? Did you go to the dealership and say, I'd really like my thermostat to be controlled by a motor managed by the ECM? Or did that decision get made for you in the name of progress? I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm saying it's worth thinking about. So here's what I want to know from you in the comments. Do you prefer the old school mechanical, simplicity, fix yourself, and trust for 150,000 miles? Or are you good with newer tech, efficiency gains, and smarter systems? Old school or new school? Let me know below. If you got value out of this, hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay grounded and be blessed.